Hey, good evening. Happy Monday to you, Rattler Nation. Bryan Fulford, Kelvin Rozier, the ONG StrikeZone, joined by Keith Hadley, Things Up Podcast, FAMU, and Gerald Thomas III, GT3 of the Tallahassee Democrat, the FAMU beat reporter covering FAMU athletics and football 24/7. Gentlemen, how's everybody doing this afternoon or evening? I guess we are in the evening right now.
Doing well, buddy.
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm ready to talk some ball.
We'll bounce back.
Exactly. You know, I had to make sure I threw on some Rattler colors. You know, I had to look. I didn't know how many times I get a chance to wear this polo this season. I swore I would not be wearing it on Mondays this year. So, shoot, after the way my boys looked on Monday, I'm still not drinking the Kool-Aid, but I'm gonna enjoy it while I got it. Right
there, you go. I totally agree with you on that. Enjoy it while you got it, but the Dolphins look really bad.
Pathetic.
I swear they were point shaving personally, but that's just me. That's just me. You know, don't get me to talking about them. I cried a little tear for you though, Kelvin. You know, y'all need a kicker, but anyway,
Hey, let me say this.
Solid.
Let me say this. I'm a Falcons fan.
He wasn't taught in the preseason.
I
said we need a touchdown. It's either touchdown or die. We chose death. So on to the
next. Appreciate everybody coming in and joining us tonight. This is the second edition of the Monday Night Review, where we get a chance to really kind of dive off the deep end and spend a little more time talking about Saturday's football game than we would normally get on Wednesday. You know, because by the time we get into Wednesday, you know, man, people are, you know, rarely do we want to spend time still talking about Sunday or Saturday, and we're ready to move forward. So this was our best opportunity. So appreciate all of you guys for coming in and joining us. However and wherever you're watching us on the Black College Sports Network and Jericho Broadcast Network's YouTube page, that's my JBN Online, or Facebook, Black College Sports Network, or the ONG StrikeZone YouTube page, or Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. We're in all kinds of places. So, Keith, did you make sure are you sharing it on the Things Up podcast stream as well?
I will do so right now. Look,
yeah, come on now. Don't deny the people. You know, somehow there might be somebody. It's a shame if it's out there. There might be somebody who follows you that don't follow us, and vice versa. And we would tell you to please make sure you're following all of our feeds and shows. You know, family has to stick together. Without a doubt. Exactly. Okay. The Rattlers traveled back down to South Florida for the second consecutive weekend, taking on the Owls of Florida Atlantic down in Boca. Keith and I managed to appreciate Keith for sponsoring the trip. You know, I try not to sleep too much in the car. You know, hopefully I didn't snore too loud, Keith, while you were driving.
No snoring at all. You were good, Bryan.
Well, I appreciate it. You know, I tell people all the time, don't count me to be a wingman. I'm hard. But anyway, so we drove down to Boca. Beautiful campus, beautiful facilities. You know, it's the kind of trip that sometimes make you a little jealous, you feel some kind of way. You're driving around, and you're like, but you know, all the beautiful amenities of Bragg, you know, we won't trade it. You know, we would like to build it up a little bit, but you know, won't trade it. But the Rattlers, it's the only FBS matchup that we get on the season this year in the 12-game schedule, and we go down to play FAU, and a lot of questions coming out of the Howard game and the Orange Blossom game, everywhere from, you know, what would the quarterback play look like? How many snaps would the quarterback get? What would our special teams look like? The defense, how would the defense fare against a high octane offense? All of those were the questions coming in. I'm gonna pause here, and before we get into maybe showing some highlights and talking about the game, I'm gonna let Kelvin kind of crow a little bit, and then as we go around the horn, kind of talk about, what were the expectations going into the game. So let's kind of start there, and I'll throw it to Kelvin and let him do a little crowing first.
Well, I actually don't want to crow about my prediction from last week. But to give some context to it, long time ago at a totally different level, high school level, I was a special teams coordinator. And so when I talked about, the formation I saw, I took my job serious. I was young and green, brand new to coaching back then. I was given a responsibility. So I actually went to the library and did research and looked at formations and philosophies. And when I saw how we came out against Howard in that punt scheme, I told you it was going to block. And I told you exactly how I would attack it. And that's exactly what FAU did. They just put in more people than we had to block. And then the free person coming through, I told you those offensive linemen back there weren't going to be able to block them because they're not used to blocking in space. When I was a special teams coordinator at the high school level, I used to put tight ends, fullbacks, linebackers as my up men and back in the back because they were more athletic. They could still cover downfield if someone got loose. But in terms of the blocking scheme, when you send those speed long guys and somebody gets through, they have a better chance of at least getting in the way than those offensive linemen that we have back there. So there's way more ups to having those kind of skill guys as the up backs versus having linemen. And then the scheme itself, I told you, it was unbalanced. It was flawed. And once you got it on tape, people going to scheme for it. And no matter how quality the talent was, because it's unconventional and it's unbalanced, they will be able to take advantage of it. They only bought one, thank goodness. They almost got about 4 or 5 of them, though, and probably should have got at least 1 or 2 more. So I'm hoping now that it's on tape, now that it has happened, that we'll make the appropriate adjustments and do a more balanced approach with that punt team. In terms of expectation, I'll just say I expected us to be competitive like we were against Troy. I expected us, I didn't expect to win, but I did expect for us I expected to see improvement. And I warned against getting too high on how our defense looked against Howard because I told you we weren't challenged. And so I didn't know what to think of that. And then when Howard had the challenges, the last drive, they moved right down the field. And so, unfortunately, we put up little resistance and we weren't competitive. That's my takeaway.
Okay. Gerald, what were some of your expectations going into this road trip down to FAU?
I knew it was going to be. It's FBS, so you gotta really contextualize that. And when you're coming off a loss against Howard, I don't think you're really going into an FBS game expecting to win. But I did expect it to be competitive. I did not expect it to be 39-0 at the half. And as y'all know, I was on the verge of saying, man, I think this might have was worse than the Miami game from last year, just because of just how it was just looking like. I'm like, you got beat 56-9 by a team that was close to making the college football playoffs, and then you play against not necessarily a bad FBS, but a lower FBS. So I'm thinking it's going to be more so like the Troy game, and it just was no resistance from the defense. The quarterback, he was dicing them up all game. Offense didn't do nothing to the second half. So the way that the game looked in the second half, it kind of led me to veer away from saying it was worse than the Miami Hurricanes game, because they were able to keep pace in the second half by just being outscored 17-14. And I believe they were outscoring FAU for a minute in the second half. So But I mean, the L is an L. I mean, I don't think anybody expect them to go in and pull off an upset. But now it's on to the next now.
Mm-hmm. Keith, what are your thoughts?
I mean, I expected a blowout just because what I saw the week before. Like offensively, the only reason I thought, going into the preseason we might be close was because I thought we'd have a better passing game. But once I kind of saw, what we were rolling out there with, I kind of knew that he'd have to feel his way through. And, that's what we saw. I mean, we definitely saw a quarterback kind of grow up before our eyes, and some of it was through pure attrition. But I expected the L, and I was able to be okay with it, largely because I had already kind of seen it. It's a team, as Gerald mentioned, you're probably not going to beat. But, just looking at the stats, like some of the things were still what they were. Like penalty-wise, you had 6 penalties. I'm okay with that. Like you give me 6 penalties a game. That's very good. But otherwise, I didn't expect a lot. Honestly, I was pleasantly surprised by how many points we scored. Like after the Howard game, I didn't think we were going to score that many points. But, going forward, hoping to continue to see some change, but also hoping that, some of the things that we saw that we might be able to build upon, you're able to do so. But it's a game against a higher level team after you lost against a team that wasn't as good as you. So I don't know how much you were able to take away from that.
Mm-hmm. Again, looking at just before we get into showing a few clips of the offensive possessions in the first half, just giving a little breakdown of some of the numbers. Again, FAU scored 39 points. Essentially, every offensive possession they had scored 22 points in the first quarter, including a 2-point conversion after their first touchdown, which kind of caught everybody off guard. Then, of course, scoring off a block punt. Scored 22 in the first quarter, 17 in the second quarter. As Gerald mentioned, we were with them, only outscored 17-14 in the second half, where we might, we did outscore them 7-0 in the third quarter. And I think we might have even scored that second touchdown might have even come before they even scored their 17. Total numbers, the FAMU offense, 296 yards of total offense, FAU 553. 227 of our numbers came with the passing game, only 69 rushing yards. As mentioned, 6 penalties, 52 yards. What was the numbers? Anybody recall what they were the week before? They were low last week.
It was last week.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was 6.
So almost the same.
Might have was 6 for 50. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Okay. On third down, we were 5 of 16 on third down. FAU was 5 of 13 on third down. Maybe a bigger difference was while we were only 1 for 2 on fourth down, FAU was 3 for 3. We ran a total of 65 offensive plays. FAU ran a total of 79. The yards per play jumps out the stat book. They averaged in total 7 yards per play on offense. We averaged 4.6 yards per play. The yards per completion were almost equal. Surprisingly, we were 11.9 yards per completion. They were 12.4. And that's saying a lot, given the fact that their quarterback was 27 of 39, 309 yards. Keith, I still say 4 touchdowns. I saw the video again. That 5th touchdown should not have been their stat padding. It wasn't 5 touchdowns, FAU. It was 4. You want to give a guy a record. Come on, do it right. That was not the 5th touchdown. You'll see the highlights. The guy fumbled. He fumbled even further away from the goal line than I thought he did from where we were in the press box. So, but anyway, it is what it is. We fumbled 3 times. Didn't lose them, though. So nobody really fumbled. There was, let me see, there was no interceptions. So for the second game in a row, look, we thought, hey, you want a positive? Second game in which we did not turn the ball over. No interceptions. They dropped one.
Well, they dropped 2 of them. One of them was on the wrong route, but they should have had one.
Hey, you can see that as a positive. We were down 39-0 at halftime, but
Yeah,
that was in my mind. That's what I saw.
Look like the FAMU
clearly,
Susies over there.
There's a guy over here with a glass half full because he's feeling good today, and there's another guy whose glass is half empty because he's not feeling good today. So you figure out which guy is which in the square. And but anyway, yeah. So individually, passing wise, RJ Johnson, 18 of 28, 222 total yards, 2 touchdowns, 64% completion percentage, passer rating of 154.5. Jet Petty, 1 of 7, 5 passing yards. And rushing the ball, Thad Franklin, 11 attempts, 58 yards. Jamal Haley, 5 carries, 22 yards. And really that was about both Somerset, 3 attempts, 4 yards. Passing wise, Jamal Haley ended up being the leading receiver, 5 catches, 46 yards. He was targeted 5 times. So he caught all 5 of the balls that he was targeted. Both Somerset, 3 catches, 22 yards. He was 100% on his 3 targets. Does that tell you something about how that game flow went? That the 2 backs were 8 targets and 8 catches, those 2 backs.
A whole lot of checking down.
Yeah.
and or receivers didn't make plays.
Yeah.
That part. Jordan Edwards, 2 catches, 72 yards. Jordan Edwards caught the 65-yard touchdown play. The 65-yard connection from RJ in the second half. He was targeted 4 times. Jamar Taylor, 2 catches, 24 yards and a touchdown. He caught the very first touchdown of the season. He was 2 targets, 2 catches. Armand Burris, 2 catches, 8 yards on 3 targets. Now, the people who kind of surprised me here, Jalen Rogers, only 1 catch for 17 yards on 7 targets. Kanari Wilcher, 1 catch, 2 targets for 9 yards. Miles Campbell's 1 catch, 12 yards on 2 targets. And I mentioned those 3 guys because you guys saw the Howard game. I mean, those were 3 guys who I don't know if FAU saw it. They probably saw the Howard game. I don't know if they put an emphasis on staying with those guys, but it was disappointing that those guys didn't have better numbers.
They were bailing on Wilcher a lot. Like you kind of go back and watch the film. Same way TJ Huggins is pretty much bailing every time against certain receivers. You saw the same thing where it's like they knew you wanted to stretch the field with Wilcher. They know he's kind of got a little bit of speed to him. So you go back and watch that film. You do get to see them bailing on him quite a bit, like I was surprised because one of the things, just re-listening to the show from last week, we talked about how Howard respected our speed. I was surprised. I didn't think FAU was going to respect our speed that much.
Mm-hmm. Defensively, on the defensive side of the ball, Jason Riles Jr., the linebacker, ended up with a total of 11 tackles, 7 of them solo. He did have a quarterback hurry and a forced fumble. Bryan Knowles, another linebacker, had 6 total tackles, 2 solo, a tackle for loss, a pass breakup, a quarterback hurry. So those were and I get Angelique Thomas, defensive back, 6 tackles in the contest. So those were your leaders on the defensive side of the ball. We did have 1 sack. That was by Antonio Kemen. And as you said, no interceptions. All right. Let's get into looking at a little bit of the first half film. Now, what I put together here on this clip are the first half offensive possessions. So as we're watching here, guys kind of jump in. I don't know if anybody's following, or Keith, you got the drive charts or whatever, but let's just kind of go right into the offensive possessions here. Opening drive, first possession for FAMU. Now, first play of the game, did you guys like the first play here by by coach to go right to a pass from RJ to Jalen Rogers?
Yes.
Yeah.
I like the design of the play because it goes straight to RJ's strength. RJ's strength is not pushing the ball down the field, not yet.
And it gets the ball quickly to your playmaker in space. And as you saw, he was able to make a guy miss to go for a first down.
Yeah.
Agree. Yeah, I said go and get him loose.
Yeah. Here we are, 3rd and 7 off a near interception, 5 receiver, empty backfield. I don't know. That felt like a bad missed block there by the left tackle there.
Play also probably took too long.
All right, first punt attempt, and you saw the pressure right there by FAU. Not pretty. All right, there's a harbinger of things to come. Here we go. Second offensive set. We start off with a running play. And I always felt these drives seem to always start with something. Now, I think from this point, there's always something in our offensive drive.
That should have been a flag right there because he kicked my boy in the head on purpose, but I'm going to let that slide. 2nd and 5.
RJ steps up. He scrambles. Good decision. I was impressed at times. He showed the ability to kind of just to run quickly and just to, here we go. 2nd down and 10. Okay, now here's where things start to go bad. We have a delay of game right here on a 2nd and 10. Pushes us back to 2nd and 5. 2nd and 15, rather. Pressure in the pocket. First sack of the game.
Yeah.
3rd and 22. 3rd and 22. And we go through the YouTube clip there. All right, here we go. All right. 3rd and 22. Over the middle pass.
Ooh.
All right, this is just to give us some space. Here we go, Kelvin. 4th and 13. Down 8-0.
Hey, you notice how everybody's to the right, we only have 2 guys on the other side.
Yep, and the players running backwards like that.
Yeah.
I think there's another.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. Oh, I thought they had another clip. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Kelvin.
Yeah, they just put more guys than we can block. And our formation makes it kind of easy, frankly. And the fact that we only have 2 guys means that, whether if you had a balanced line, those rushers would have a longer path to go to get to the ball, which gives the kicker, a split second longer to get the ball off. But the fact that, they can put pressure right up the middle, that's the easiest path to block the kick. So just unfortunate.
Yeah, I don't understand.
Nearly got to it again on the 3rd kick.
I mean, but looking at the formation, why do you have the extra gunner out there? That doesn't make a lot of sense. Like, you should bring that extra gunner further inside to Kelvin's point so he can help block.
All right, 4th offensive possession. Now, you saw on the last possession, we started with a bad snap.
That's a drop.
Yeah.
That's all you can say. That's a solid one. I like the fact quick route.
We just couldn't sustain. We just couldn't get any consecutive first downs. We get a first down, we couldn't turn it into another. We couldn't turn it into anything consecutive here.
That was supposed to be a double pass, wasn't it? Or was it just me?
I don't think
no,
so.
It looked like a screen to me. But I will say we still, and I understand we got a new quarterback and there was some pressure. But man, the play call is still awfully predictable or simplistic. Let's put it that way.
3rd and 44. So the last drive we were 3rd and 25. This one, okay. Here we go. Started the 2nd quarter. Now look at that rush. Jesus.
Should have had it. Should have had it.
Yep.
I don't know how he.
But this was a good punt. This was a good punt, and he got it off. FAU with a good return here.
I mean, poor being Braxton Berrios is okay.
All right, here we go. The Jet Petty experience begins here with 10-15 in the 2nd quarter.
This pass is a freaking dime, but it's just better coverage.
Tight window up the sideline, Keith.
Man, I don't know how much of an effort the receiver really made to try to make the play.
This is a drop. Oh, no, it's pass interference. That should have been pass interference, my personal opinion.
Yeah.
All right, so 3 and out for Petty. Here we go. Pump formation again. Ooh, Jesus.
They're still running backwards. I don't understand that stuff.
Yeah, and look, this time the ball only went to about the 50-yard line on that second Petty drive. Again, they start with a run play.
That's predictable.
Second and long, and here we go. 2 passes. First pass off target.
There's nobody open. And Ritter is out there at receiver. Ritter is an H-back / tight end.
3rd and 9. Here comes pressure.
Drop pass. But it was behind him, though, in his defense.
Yeah. And that would be the end of the Petty experience. But here we go, another punt formation. Jesus.
How they missed it, I don't know.
It's the why are you running backwards?
Yeah.
Yeah, that part. Okay, RJ Johnson back in the game on offense. And this is after sitting a couple of drives and watching Petty work. And I thought this was the start of where I think, you guys who've been saying this is where RJ grew up. He has a better drive. He looks good from this point forward, I think. Watch this drive here. Pressure. I'm surprised he got that ball off the way he did, given the pressure that was in his grill.
Oh, yeah. That FAU D-line's decent. I mean, considering all things. And we did have NFL scouts there.
Was that a tight end or an offensive lineman who was in the way or in the wrong position?
Lineman.
Yeah.
And they didn't block anybody either.
Yeah. Drive still moving.
Yeah, he heard y'all tell him about rolling the quarterback out to the right or the left.
Yeah, this was the first game we kind of saw that. I felt like this play right here was supposed to be a quarterback run.
Right.
I don't think he was feeling it though.
That's a good read.
Yeah.
Solid throw.
Mm-hmm. But the ball's coming out faster too. Like
it is. This should have been a catch.
Yes.
I don't know if it's a throw. Now, notice Rodgers, right? Now, for some reason, Rodgers stays in the game on the very next possession, and they go right back to him. I don't think he had the legs for it, personally. You can see him kind of come up a little lame. I don't think he had the legs for that particular play.
That's just good coverage. I mean, not a great pass, but it's also good coverage.
We're not getting separation from the DBs. Their DBs were pretty decent, to be honest.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, some of the route combinations, their DBs are too fast. Like, you can't.
45-yard field goal. It was not blocked according to the stats. It just was a miss.
Yeah. I mean, it's like I said before, like for me, I was definitely upset with the Howard outcome. And just because that's the team you should have beaten. This one, they had better athletes. I mean, they had better athletes at damn near every position. I mean, one of the best parts of that game was watch their offensive line and their quarterback, watch our offensive line and our quarterback. I mean, I think Ashton Grable could have went over there and started, got some PT. But other than that, I don't know how many of our linemen would have went over there and started or would go over there and start tomorrow.
To that point, what I'll say is this, Bryan, on the script for Wednesday has a different name, but the name that I started to give that script was "Where my dogs at?" Because I just don't see any dogs, man. No playmakers on either side of the ball. I don't see it. I feel like the talent and potential is there, but what I told you, potential gets you beat. Talent win you games, and I had the pleasure of working the Florida State home game and being on that field, bro.
It's different over there, ain't it?
It's different.
Talent matters.
Like
it matters.
Talent, familiarity, understanding what you're doing. Like, we look across the train tracks real quick, but a lot of that's talent. A lot of that is also, you got a quarterback. This is his third year in that system, right? Like Castellanos was here in Orlando at UCF with Gus. That tight end Pittman was originally an FSU commit, then when everything switched over, he went down to UCF with Gus. So there's enough familiarity with that roster and with that system to where they can make some things happen.
Yeah, we don't play fast. This team's thus far, we don't play fast on either side of the ball, and that's just concerning. I want to be positive, but I'm just talking about what I see right now. What we got on tape ain't good enough.
No, I don't disagree.
Yeah. And we're not hitting our guys in space enough too. Like, part of that, and they're dropping the balls too. Like, I mean, Colsey's kind of alluded to it, but y'all know we straight shooters around this piece. When he's talking about things need to change and some people can get moved, that's the receiver room. Directly the receiver room. They dropped some passes last 2 weeks. And some of those the first week I get, but this week, some of those passes were in the breadbasket.
And not finishing routes. Not just, balls, tough catches, you got to make some of them. You can't drop them all. You got to make one of them, right? And then in terms of route running, seem like, there's not maximum effort to run the routes and to finish plays. But finishing is a theme I think that can be consistent with the entire team. We're not finishing. And then I said before the Howard game, I talked about last week, getting off the fast starts, man. We're a slow starting team, man, and it's costing us, and it will continue to cost us until we get better point production in the first quarter.
Yeah, because you can't overly commit to the run. I mean, I know it sounds good. Let's run the ball. As you said last week, they got people on the other side of their field, and that they on scholarship too. And we all know, y'all know the first commandment of family football is "Thou shalt not run." Look, I'm not gonna let you run the ball against me. Like, you got to earn that.
Yeah.
All right. The again, 6 possessions, actually 7 in the first half. First 6 were all punts. That last drive was a 12-play drive, only went 47 yards, and ended in a field goal miss. Before we show the second half, I want to take a quick break and come back and ask you guys. I saw something defensively that worries me. I saw it last week against Howard, and it was really glaring this week when I looked at our defense versus FAU's defense. So I want to toss it around the horn and ask you, from a defensive pressure standpoint, are you concerned? Or we're all concerned. How concerned? To what level of degree are you concerned with what you've seen in 8 quarters related to pressure defensively? Let's step away for a short minute, take a couple breaks real quick, and come back, and we'll get into the second half and talk a little bit more. You're watching the Monday Night Review, the ONG Strike Zone. We'll be back in just a moment.
For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement, a statement, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. Whether you're a student or a lifelong supporter, our gear lets you wear your HBCU story with confidence and style. Because when you wear HBCU Image, you're not just wearing clothes. You're wearing culture. You're wearing pride. You're wearing purpose. HBCU Image, a Kenny T's company.
Football fans, HBCU.
Now, you can live in Texas and not have a good red meat blend. Texas Cowboy Dust is designed for steak and other red meats. It's out to be my most popular spice blend, made with onions, peppers, ground mushrooms, pink salt, and other spices. Texas Cowboy Dust also goes great with chicken, pork, vegetables, and adds a restaurant quality sheen to gravies and sauces.
Get ready for the inaugural Unity Classic, Saturday, September 13th at Nathaniel Glover Community Field and Stadium. It's a clash of the Virginia Union Panthers of the CIAA and the Edward Waters Tigers of the SIAC. Plus, an HBCU band battle between the Edward Waters Triple Threat Marching Band and the Virginia Union Ambassadors of Sound. The inaugural Unity Classic goes down in Duval.
For For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement, a statement, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. HBCU Image, a Kenny T's company.
Welcome back to the O&G Strike Zone. Bryan and Kelvin here. Keith Hadley of Things Up Podcast. Gerald Thomas III, Tallahassee Democrat, RattlerNews.com. Make sure to go follow and read all of Gerald's content covering FAMU daily. Let me start with the question that I teased coming out of the break. I'm going to start with you, Gerald. From a defensive standpoint, as you talk to the defensive unit and have gotten to know the coaching staff and the team, are you shocked? I'm shocked when I see our lack of defensive pressure. At least that's the way I see. And I looked at what FAU and the amount of pressure that they got on RJ. I just don't know that we've gotten a lot of pressure on the quarterbacks at a level that makes them uncomfortable. What's your takeaway on what you've seen from a defensive standpoint and the kind of pressure that we have put on opponents to this point?
Yeah, well, I mean, I feel like in the Howard game, the defense was decent, but also, I mean, you were playing against a team that, I guess, one-dimensional. I mean, we didn't expect Howard to have a lighted up type of offense. I mean, they had similar offense to when they played 2 years ago in the Celebration Bowl. FAU, I just think it's just a different level. I mean, the quarterback, he was back there, reading a novel, called his mama, to make sure she was good, ordered a pizza for after the game. He just had time, and I think that just kind of shows just the difference between FBS and FCS. I mean, if you can recall in 2022 when FAMU went and played against North Carolina, that was back when FAMU had the top 5 defense in the nation, but they wasn't out there evading the backfield, getting the Drake made neither. So I mean, I think you got to contextualize it a little bit. And then, I mean, they play against Albany State. So, I mean, it's Division II. So you're not really I feel like you're really not going to know until you play against a team on your level, which don't come into Alabama State, who's look like they got an offense on their hands. So yes, I mean, it's been a lack of pressure. Of course, everybody used to FAMU being able to get there and beleaguer a lot of those quarterbacks and stop the run. But also, I mean, that FAU defense is just, I mean, that FAU offense just was on a different level, very fast paced, and that's probably I'm pretty sure that's the fastest offense they're going to see this season. So I think the jury is still kind of out on that situation.
Keith, how about you? You're on mute.
My bad. Appreciate that. I don't know how concerned I am, largely because a lot of that game you weren't running a true 4-down lineman system. You kind of have like 3 down linemen. You got a stand-up guy at the end. So I don't know how much pressure you're going to get when you're running that against their offensive line, who looks like they're about 300 pounds for the most part. So not overly concerned yet. As mentioned, Howard's very one-dimensional. My biggest thing right now when it comes to the defense, yeah, pressure's a question, but can you confuse some of these quarterbacks? Because as Gerald mentioned, Buddy had all day, like, go back and watch. And I was watching the game again, and even the commentators were talking about the quarterback going through his progressions. Go watch this kid go through his progressions. Like, you literally see him scan the field from left to right, then go back to the left. Like, he literally went through his progressions, looked who his check down was, who his primary route was, and then decided to go back to somebody else. It was wild to see like how much time he had in the pocket. So right now, am I concerned? Not yet, because you played a team that you should have dominated and lost to, and you played a team that you should have lost to and gotten dominated by. So we're going to see. But at the same point, I don't know how much Albany State's going to tell you, because it's a team that on paper you shouldn't really be matching up with them. And if you're matching up with Albany State, we got some questions. Like, some of y'all people's in the chat, y'all conversations y'all having might not be so far-fetched if this is a real competition with Albany State.
I'm gonna let Kelvin get his words in before I say something about that. Don't this all this dismissing Albany State. Y'all better cut that out. I'm tell you that now. I thought, hey, 2 years ago, was it 2 or 3 years ago when Albany State came to FAMU? That was a good team. 3 years. That was a good team. We were a really good team that year. And what was the final score?
Too close.
13.
28-13 or something like that.
Yeah. It was not a blowout. So let's just.
I'm not saying it's gonna be a blowout. What I'm saying, that's why I said on paper, you're better than this team. You shouldn't struggle, even with them scoring 50 points a game, because of who they are 50 points a game against.
I just wish we wouldn't do that, but okay.
Hey,
but I understand.
Bryan, I'm with you. I don't agree with Keith's assessment, because I always say, just like when we played West Georgia, also the top level D2 teams aren't that much different, except for depth in terms of playing, HBCUs and FCS competition. So if they're a good D2 team, then they can be competitive and they can pull it off. So we have to play. We have to come to play. And then, of course, they got that extra element in terms of a former FAMU great who's coming home. And frankly,
for him,
frankly, may view this as an opportunity for him to audition. So, and he has all conference players. But in terms of our team in the defense, I don't take a whole lot from this game, to be honest. For people who don't know, this coach, that quarterback, came from Texas Tech, Air Raid offense, Western Kentucky, where they trying to get as many snaps as possible. It's very high pace, fast offense, and it's been effective at the FBS level. So I figured it was going to be a challenge for us. And then, as we said, Howard was just the opposite. They wasn't trying to they were trying to prolong the game and run the ball and be vanilla. They wasn't trying to test our team defense. So I don't have enough data points, in my opinion, to make an informed opinion on the pass rush itself. We'll see. But, of course, it wasn't good enough this game for sure.
Right. All right. Let's quick 2-minute package here on the second half highlights, which do feature our first scoring touchdowns. That I don't know who got that one right. In our Wednesday predictions, but it felt good to see some points on the scoreboard here. FAU starts with the ball in the second half, and we actually, get them off the field. This is probably the first drive where FAU does not go down the field and score a touchdown.
It is.
Yeah. So, I felt like that one's finally kind of a coverage sack, probably. Okay. A big run here. I think this was Stad on this run, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Thad
Makes
Franklin, a
when
big
you get
run.
some passes going, right?
Yeah. 9 minutes to go. A quick read, quick throw, maybe blown coverage. That same DB got beat on the other touchdown.
Yep.
First touchdown of the game there. Quick read. 1, 2, 3. I've gotten in the habit of sitting back and counting. Like 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3. He's got to get rid of it. And that time he got rid of it like on 2. All right. Second, RJ doing a great job. One of the things I pointed out in the post game, RJ in the second half completed 7 consecutive passes in the second half, including the touchdown. This was the infamous 5th touchdown. Unbelievable. Watch this.
It was definitely a fumble.
He fumbles it at the right there, 3-yard line.
I don't even know if it was a catch, To be honest,
Thank you. I don't know how that part didn't happen, but anyway,
because you got to make a football move and make 2 steps. He fumbled it before he can make a second step.
Right, and then we again catch the coverage on a quick read, 65-yard touchdown play.
Much needed.
Yeah,
just outright blown coverage though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you take advantage of them. I mean,
yeah.
No,
I'm just saying, but it wasn't scheme, a great route or anything. It was blown coverage.
Yeah.
Just adding context.
Right. But I do want to point out, the fact that, like I said, RJ looked much better in the second half.
I mean, you're up 39-7. You took out your starting quarterback. Facts. I'm not arguing one way or the other. I'm just saying, the defense at this point is playing totally different. They got the game at hand. So, they ain't running the same schemes that they ran in the first half. So I don't know. For me, I don't know how much I can take away from that.
Well, I will say
I hope it translates and means something, but I can't say that today. I don't know that.
What did impress me, though, their DBs caught some of the most ridiculous. I mean, if we put a highlight clip of just the balls that their receivers caught from their first offensive touchdown to the couple that were in the back of the end zone to that one you just saw. I mean, they had, and this is why Gerald, you asked the question about the Miami thing, and honestly, I felt we played scared of Miami last year. I don't think that was the case here. I saw DBs in the 5-yard space. Obviously, we were playing little man. We weren't 10 yards off receivers like we were last year. They just made, obviously, when the quarterback had all kinds of time, and their receivers just made some great catches. I mean, they really did. That was like the one takeaway. And if we wanted to talk about talent in receivers, if you want to talk about all the things of what glaring difference is between what they had and what we had, it might be in the receivers, which is very strange to say because we've thought highly of our receivers, but their receivers made ridiculous catches. And we were sitting here talking for the last 30 minutes about receivers dropping passes and other things. So
I think also the line of scrimmage, though, kind of much to Mike Road Dogg's point. I think one of the clear differences you saw was the line of scrimmage. Like we're talking about FAMU couldn't generate pressure, and you talk about how long the quarterback had in the pocket. That to me is what really stuck out. I mean, later on in the game, you do see where we're able to get a little different pressure and kind of get a coverage sack and stuff like that. But I think that was one of the glaring things for me. Just like the line of scrimmage is where we always say there's a difference, and that's where you had a lot of that difference. And it showed up because without that offensive line giving that quarterback so much time in the pocket, he doesn't get that extra time to throw those passes in those like weird and crazy spots like he did. So that was probably for me one of the bigger things that I saw, just because you saw where the NFL scouts were looking at one player on our roster. That's it. There was nobody else that they really looked at. It was Ashton Grable. And they literally over there, I watched them walk over there with their notepads, and even in warmups, they looked at Ashton Grable. FAU, they kind of looked at a few other guys, but you can see the biggest difference was on the line of scrimmage. Well, and we're missing two important defensive linemen.
Right. That not having two experienced linemen, I think, mattered too. But I have to say this, I'm just talking about what I see. The schemes as well as the execution of those schemes. We talking about talent-wise. There was some talent difference, maybe. I can tell you there was at least 3 players who played for FAU that wanted to be Rattlers. They were under-recruited or not recruited at all. There was 1 or 2 of them that were legacy Rattlers, as a matter of fact.
Yikes.
So But the execution, the attention to detail, finishing plays. That's what stood out to me. You made a mistake, they pounced on it. You missed the assignment, they pounced on it. And they were prepared for it. They knew what to do in those moments. And so their level of execution was high. I have not seen that from our team.
Nope.
Gerald, I want to get you
and as Neil Miles said, that's coaching.
Gerald, I want to get you in trouble, but you might be the best person to kind of evaluate this question from Zach. Given what you have seen over the last 3-4 years from our receivers and what you have seen thus far, is that a fair evaluation or assessment, or is it too early?
Well, I only go back to 2022, so
I would say Alex Woods.
Okay.
I only go back to 2022. But I mean, all those seasons, it was from, even last year, it was, decent receiving core. So,
I would probably say Alex Woods, maybe something like that. And I don't know how much of that was just product of the system that we had then. But
I'm about to say, I think y'all better suited to answer. Y'all been watching longer than me. Y'all trying to pass it off to me. Don't get me jammed up.
That's Bryan.
Yeah, look. Look, hey.
I'll tell you the name that nobody is talking about right now. The R and that B. Nobody talking about that. Thank y'all put that one back in your pocket. I don't want to hear nothing about RB 3.0 or 2.5 or whatever. Nah, you can kiss that goodbye. I won't hear nothing.
Man,
no talk.
I did not know where you were going when you dropped them 2 letters. I was like, oh. I was like, oh, dang, Bryan about to say something. I'm about to get my sweet tea and just sit over here and be quiet for a minute.
No,
Look, you might need to say rack boys when you say them 2 letters.
All right. Well, I must have missed it then. I don't know what. Okay, so I must have missed something then.
You definitely missed it.
I know what you're talking about. I definitely.
Now you do? Okay, y'all have to tell me offline. I'm old, not quite as old as Kelvin, but I must have missed it.
Nah, you ain't that old. You just being facetious, my brother.
So subconsciously, maybe, I don't know. All right. What we like to do about this time, we like to do some grades. I kind of grade out what we saw: offensive, defense, special teams, and coaching. Kind of how we'll do it. So, Kelvin, we'll start with you. Offense, Kelvin. What grade would you give the offense that you saw against FAU?
C-.
Gerald?
C.
Keith?
I had a C-.
Okay. I'll go C+. We did score touchdowns, 2 of them.
That's the
I'm just for curiosity's sake. What you say, Keith?
That's the expectation. That's the standard, right?
Oh, there you go. You got the standard. I keep saying whenever you guys say the standard, you need to clarify what era standard are you referring to, because there have been some eras where just nothing was the standard. So
I mean,
that is the exception of the rule, though, Bryan. As Rattlers and lifelong Rattler, from the expectation is success, and you gotta average 28 to 30 points.
Right.
Okay.
There's one word. I mean, look, when it comes to FAMU, the standard is the standard, and the standard is what we say every time. Before we say with caring, it's excellence with caring.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the excellence comes first. We care after.
Fair. Okay. I'm curious, what would it have taken to get a B grade for the offense? What would you have needed to have seen against an FBS opponent to get a B?
Not to get shut out in the first half.
Okay.
To actually have 100 yards rushing total. You ain't have to have 100-yard rusher, but have 100+ yards in rushing, and make the plays that are there, right? Whether it be the quarterback, receiver, lineman with the blocks.
Yeah, Yeah,
I agree.
That's a lot of it.
Yeah.
Catch
I'm just
the freaking
asking
ball.
questions, Marcus. I'm just asking questions.
I think honestly, because the reason partially was also C- was at the beginning of the game, you open up the game with actually a pretty solid play call. And it seemed like, as you kind of mentioned, your first play call, you got into a rut where we're going to run on first down. Second down, we're going to pass. Third down, we're going to pass. Like, we were so predictable. And so you just kind of looking back at it, just looking at it as a layperson, like, dang, that's really predictable. I could imagine when you're a professional, you're like, man, this is predictable. They're gonna do this, they're gonna do that. So I think, the reason they got to the C was not just the scoring, it's the fact that with RJ, you started pushing the ball down the field. Didn't matter really who was on the field as much as the fact that he got those reps of pushing the ball downfield. And I saw you threaten it with Jet too. So it seems like your quarterbacks that are going to be competent enough to play understand the assignment.
Yeah. I would grade quarterback performance by RJ at about a B level today. I mean, a B minus. I thought it was much improved from last week. So, defensive side of the ball. I know it's hard. Gave up 56 points. They scored 5 or 6 consecutive possessions.
7.
Okay, thank you. 7. What grade are you giving them? Start with you, Gerald. What grade you give the defense?
I'll probably give them a C- too.
Keith? He's measuring against expectation, I think.
It's not against expectations, because my personal expectations. It's hard not to give him a D+, but I think I'm going to go D+ just because you didn't expect them to win. But man, when that quarterback got 7 seconds to, as Willie Simmons used to say, pat that baby, that's where you start to fall into that D range, and we started missing tackles, and you can't get your helmet knocked off in the first quarter like that. That was a bad look.
I'm right there with you, Keith. I'm looking down to a D. I mean, that's a big downgrade from an A-level performance the week before to a D. And like you said, I think you said this last night on your show, when he had a chance to look left, look right, and then come back to the left, it's like, damn, how much time and that's I think at some point the defensive philosophy needs to change, or at least be open to, and either we don't look, if we don't have it, we don't have it. So I'm okay. If we're going to play, look, I used to be, you see my team I wear. I used to live with that old Tampa 2, which was bend, just don't break. And, you give up a whole bunch of yards in the middle of the field, and it'd be frustrating as hell to watch, until you get inside the red zone, and then you're shutting them down a little bit, right? So if that's who we gonna be, then okay, that's all I'm gonna say. Kelvin,
we gave up 53 yards of offense, and that's with the backup quarterback coming in. We gave up scores on the first 7 drives. We were down 22-0 at the end of the first quarter and 39-0 at half. We had no turnovers. That's an F.
All right.
I ain't taking Kelvin class.
They got a nice bell-shaped curve from us. What you gave him, Bryan?
I thought I said a D. A D. I'm sorry.
Okay.
A D.
That's a decent curve considering those stats.
Yeah.
I'm just giving what I saw. What the stats say.
Really, we can count it. We can say 56. We can say 52 points, but really, technically, it's 45. It's technically 45. So
no, it's technically 56 because that's what's on the scoreboard, baby.
There you go, Gerald. That's why you don't go to Kelvin's class with that mess.
Men lie, women lie, numbers
you can't
don't.
come to Kelvin's class with that mess, boy. There's no please, Mr. Rosen, please. No, it is what it is. It's what's the syllabus say? Kelvin, hit you with what's the syllabus say?
Absolutely.
Them the kind of teachers I had.
What's the syllabus say? You just turn around and walk. They're like, why didn't you fight for it? The man told me to look at the syllabus. Why am I wasting my breath and wasting his time? There you go. All right, Keith. Special teams, Keith. Ooh.
F, and F. Like, I'm sorry. Look, I was gonna save it for coaching, but sometimes Donald Trump is right. We are the Jerome Powells of football. We're just too late. Everything is just too late. We make adjustments a week after the game's over. And then in this case, we didn't even make the adjustment a week later. You watching that film, the jabronis are running backwards and then running back up. That is putting the cart before the horse. So F.
Yeah. To quote good friend Dr. Cavill, you get an F squared. That's you might have to get an F squared. I don't understand. I'm not a coach. I but I watch a lot of football. That formation just is not working. That thing has, and we got a good kicker, but we're not giving him the opportunity based on that formation. And if I see no other change against Albany State, please, Lord, sweet baby Jesus, that is one formation that I want to see scrapped and changed going into Albany State. And if not, I sure as heck want. I want to know why. What did you say, Kelvin?
Along with personnel, those three linemen sitting back there, they offer us nothing. They don't offer us nothing in terms of blocking those speed rushers or those quick smaller DBs that come in the block. And they're not going to offer anything in terms of if the original wave of DBs who on the punt coverage team don't get the tackle and they have to tackle somebody at open field, they're going to the house. So yeah.
Okay.
You can have one back there, but you can't have. So we need again, the type of players you looking to beat up backs would be linebackers, tight ends, fullbacks. You need a Ritter back there.
Yes, sir. That's my boy. That's my boy
right
there.
A garbage guy.
Yeah.
Who don't mind getting dirty and grimy.
Yes, sir. That's my boy.
But in terms of my grades for again, I'm just calling what the stats are. We had a field goal missed. We had a block punt for a touchdown. We had 14 yards on 2 returns in terms of punt. It's an F.
Gerald, special teams grade.
I'm gonna give him a D- because I mean, like you said, you got a field goal that got tipped, missed, whatever. Punt block, touchdown, punts almost blocked. Wasn't going crazy on returns, nothing like that.
Yeah, there are. They call it special teams for a reason. It needs to be special.
Yeah, we look special, all right.
We're not looking wow.
That was cold-blooded,
that was cold-blooded. Jesus. And you leave me to transition after that, Keith. Thank you. I should play a commercial right now. All right, last grade goes into the coaching. I don't even know what to grade the coaching on this one.
Too slow.
I don't even remember if I recall. I wish I would have kept my grading sheet from last week. I don't know, C minus. Maybe I'm being kind. I don't know, C minus. Kelvin,
D.
Gerald,
D.
Key,
throw some D's on it.
Oh, I can't with you, Keith. You always on time. I love you. Oh Lord. Okay. Well, I hope we can put that one to bed. Okay. So let me ask this last question. If there was one, if there was one positive takeaway from this game, what was it, Kelvin?
That outside of Alabama State and Jackson State, the rest of the swag looked beatable too.
Gerald,
the game ended. But I mean, no. But seriously though, I mean, they showed a little bit of life in the second half. I give them that.
Keith,
I think for me, it was being on the sideline. Like on the sideline, the players hadn't given up. And I think, one of my concerns coming in was, are you about to lose this football team? Because I know for me as a fan at the Howard, hey, I ain't gonna say you lost me, but man, you might have had to try to find me. But there's a lot of the fan base that they have turned on the leadership. And to see that the players are still there. I mean, you saw some of the players kind of loafing coming off the field. And I mean, on the sideline, I was on the sideline. Go back and watch. You can see me. The players are fussing at each other. It's not the coaches saying get on the hop. It's the players. Hey, we don't jog off the field. And it's seeing the players have that pride. We talk about the standard being a standard, but some of the standard, I got to give credit to a Kentucky State graduate, Gus Johnson. And I remember first thing he taught us when we were online is you police your own people. And I loved seeing the FAMU players police their own people. They weren't waiting on the coaches. They were policing themselves. Hey, we might not win this game, but that's not what you're going to do. And so that was encouraging. So I think for me, that was my biggest takeaway, because I still feel they have a level of buy-in. Of course, we get the coach speak saying that, we're not going to lose any more games. We'll see, but you guys score some freaking points and not losing more games.
Well, that was what the players said. That wasn't coach speak. That was player speak to coach. That's what that was. Let's not.
That's what he said.
Hey, to that point, put your name on it. Put a name on it, right? Because what I'm saying is, what I'm getting at is, who are the leaders of this team?
Yes.
I don't know who they are right now. We need some, and they need to be dogs. They need to be somebody who perform at a high level. Yes. But I don't know who the leaders are, and until they figure that out, we just have to show up like we will Saturday and try to push and will this team to a victory.
Yeah, because some players are vocal. I will tell you, RJ was vocal on the sideline. Grable was kind of vocal, but like Kelvin said, it's one thing to be vocal. It's another thing when the dogs are vocal. So if one of the dogs is vocal, then all of a sudden the rest of the pack is going to follow.
Well, I think Kelvin was right. We're still waiting to find out who those dogs are. So I guess my biggest takeaway was RJ's performance. I thought it was much improved, and I thought the play calling for RJ and even Petty when he was in there was better. So props to Coach Burris for calling a better game, I thought, and for the quarterbacks taking some shots downfield. That was my biggest concern against Howard. I don't think Howard's defense was better than FAU, to be honest. So to see us,
you being nice, Bryan. You being nice.
Did I say that right? Hold on. Did I say it right? Did I say it right?
You said that their defense wasn't better than FAU. They just got belt applied to the behind against Temple. Okay. And Temple's not as good as FAU.
But my point is that we didn't take shots the way we took shots down the field. So I'm saying if we weren't scaled if we were taking shots against FAU, we should have been taking shots against Howard, and we probably would have scored.
Like I said, too late, too slow.
Well, not only that, Bryan, I hate to be the one to keep bringing the context back to this discussion, but I mean, you're down 39-0. You got to take some shots.
Look, right. You getting slapped around, Doc. At a certain point, you got to fight back. Otherwise, you're really going to lose the fans. Like, I mean, that's something. I think the best part, if you were on the Jet versus RJ battle debate was seeing both quarterbacks get in, because if you see both of them come in and Jet kind of does what he does, then the people are kind of like, oh, well, we got to see him, so it kind of killed the argument, but not doing anything about it, it gave it life. So now, you still got people that are going to say they want to see both quarterbacks though.
Well, I mean, is there really separation? Do we know that? I mean, I don't know.
I think Jet's the better
separation between who?
I think RJ is the better athlete.
Between who? What's up?
You say it, bro.
I'm asking the question. Is there a real separation? I don't know. I mean, we don't have data points
to
really make it. I don't put. I'm gonna just be honest. All right, so I remember I'm coming from a different in orientation from this. I'm not coming as a fan. I'm coming as an analyst. With a little bit of coaching background. I don't put a whole lot of weight in the second half. I just don't. You down 39-0. You're not playing the same schemes and you're not playing the same focus. So I'm glad we made the plays, and I told you I hope that translates, but I can't say I wouldn't predict that translate right now. I don't know.
I think one is more polished than the other. I'll say that much. And I think you can see who's more polished, but at the same point, it's the upside. I think that's, and that's what I said on the show last night. I was like, one has a higher upside because he's a sophomore and he's going to probably be here. But the problem with banking on that is you're banking on him being here in 3 years and you got 2 years left on your contract. And you're also up against it with APR potentially. So tomorrow's not promised. You gotta play to win today. So at this point, you got to get some Al Davis in this house because that's all that us Rattler fans are looking for. Just win.
And the implication is that, if I'm hearing you right, that playing Johnson is not playing for now. Is that what I'm hearing? Or is that the belief?
Feel like it's the playing for now. I feel like in 2 years, man, you might have some on your hands. But I feel like what you saw from RJ was after RJ got in. I'm not after RJ. After Jet got in, RJ played with some urgency because all of a sudden he had something on his back because he had to get rid of that ball quicker. And Jet wasn't perfect, but you can see the foundation was stronger. Similar to what you saw with Musa and McKay. Musa was a better quarterback. McKay was a better leader. And then when things changed, they changed.
Let me say this too, Bryan, real quick about quarterbacking and just like I said with Maritovich situation, what was that, 3 years ago? We played a D2 school then too. I think it was Fort Valley in that case, right?
Fort Valley and then Lincoln, he stunk it up too.
This next game will kind of solidify my thoughts. It'll give me the data points I need. If RJ can get off to a decent start and play the whole game, then yes, I predict if we get to halftime and we behind and it's tight, you're gonna see both quarterbacks, and you need to.
Yeah,
and that's gonna kind of define that the whole argument at that time.
And let's not forget, I want to say Jet got all 4 of his years because he came from JUCO.
And it would be fun. I ain't gonna lie. Look, I told y'all it'd be fun to throw Jefferson in there as a running package. Like, as he's a strong runner. That would be a fun little running package just to have that in there as, it's not a true Wildcat because he's an actual quarterback, but that's a nice little Wildcat package you could put in there as well.
Yeah, and he has experience starting at the FBS level. I just want to see whatever quarterback's back there. I want to see confidence. I want to see leadership, and that's kind of missing right now.
Yeah. I disagree with that, but okay. I mean, I get all the
disagree.
Huh?
It's okay to disagree.
Yeah, I mean, I'm leaning on the fact that next to Gerald, the coaches Gerald's been there. He's seen everything, and maybe next to Gerald, the coaches have seen what Gerald hadn't seen. I gotta trust in the decision makers now.
Trust but verify. The evidence is in the production. The production is not there right now. So people rightfully don't have gonna question that. I mean, that's just what it is.
And as you pointed out, you got it right.
It's always amazing because I know y'all gonna say you playing devil's advocate, okay? But I just want y'all to just process for a second. If we lost by 1 point to Howard, if we hadn't lost,
that's not the standard.
Bryan, don't go down that rabbit hole. Bryan. I'm telling you, you made your point. You disagree. You optimistic. Have glass full. Leave it there. Leave it there. Okay. Don't get in the waters.
No, I think though, as Kelvin pointed out, though, trust but verify. The offense looked very different this week. And it seemed like the offense fit RJ a lot more than it did last week. And so I think, to me, I take away that it seems like RJ's growing into this offense, but it also seems like the person who originally created this offense is adjusting their offense to fit him more. And it seems like it wasn't originally set for him.
Fast start this week is critical, fellas. I'm telling you. We do not want to be behind within one score of Albany going into the halftime. Because that's gonna put even more pressure on those quarterbacks, number one, and the staff, man. And you're gonna be in a dogfight from then on. So getting off RJ or whoever QB1, I'm assuming it's RJ, you got to get off to a good start. I think that's important.
Yeah, you got to mix it up.
FAMU won the toss, took the ball against FAU. Any thoughts? It'll be interesting to see if we do the same against Albany. You think if we win, and obviously Albany calls the coin as the visitor, so
I'm a defer guy. I'm the type of guy. I feel like you always defer. That's just me.
Well, especially at home.
I think there was a reason why on the road they took the ball first, so we'll see. Gerald, give us a preview of some of the stuff you got covering this week as we're getting ready for Albany State week.
Yeah, well, Coach had his press conference today, so went ahead and dropped something about that, and then I have a little something else from the press conference too, leading into the game. They'll probably be out probably Wednesday. The 2:20. I usually either attend or tune in. They had mac and cheese there a few weeks ago.
Gerald, are you one of those guys? You wait to find out what the menu is before you decide on whether you're going? Is that what you're doing, Gerald?
Oh no, I go anytime. I never get them. They never drop a pre menu. So you go there, and you find out what they have when they get there, and then then I have a little bit of game analysis, like leading up to the kickoff and all that. So
all right, make sure to tune in Wednesday. Kelvin, what's our guest lineup look like for Wednesday's show?
Full house, man. We have Marvin Green coming on to talk about the Hall of Fame and how fundraising is going for the 100, as well as the athletics, some of the things that have happened. We're going to have Coach Darlene Moore, Albany State grad, but current AD at, I think it's Kentucky Westland, but former director of track and AD. She was a AD at alma mater, Albany State, but anyway, she'll come on and she's always fun with this game, man. So I'm looking forward to that. And then we're gonna have Coach Bill from softball also on the show. They've got a fundraising going on, so we're gonna let her talk about the fundraiser and they actually have a shop that they put out there where you can buy authentic athletic gear, as well as she'll be, talking about the fall camp and how things are going. So,
yeah, I'm excited about the shop. I saw that, man. I can't wait to pub that finally. I feel like it's been maybe forever and a day since we've seen an athletic team shop. So,
it sells licensed in authentic and game-worn material.
Yeah, well, it's the closest I'm going to get. So, it's the closest we'll get. So with all of that going on, that's why we do this show. We will have time to talk about the preview, give us a chance to do a little more analysis on Albany State over the last 2 weeks and some of what Coach Gray is going to be coming into town with. So we'll kind of get a chance to spend a little bit of time breaking that down. Yeah, Keith, what do you got working on as you get ready to go into the week? Of course, your next show will be Thursday.
So Thursday, Albany State, going to talk about the game. Also going to talk about some of these recruits. I'm not trying to steal Marcus's thunder, but we had a couple football offers go out, a couple basketball offers go out, softball offer. Coach Beal's doing a softball camp. So that's a genius idea. Need more of our coaches to continue to do that. So going to be talking about that. And of course, we're going to do our predictions. My only loss this season is from the FAMU Howard game. So I'm still salty about that. But right now, 5th place in my BCSN, pick 'em. So for everybody that is competing, the champ is coming back for his crown. I'm determined to try not to lose to certain people. I ain't gonna say their names, and I ain't gonna, put no smoke on there. But so the champ is coming back to defend his 2-time crown.
I see you working. It's much appreciated. Thank you, Keith. Thank you, Gerald, for coming in and joining us on this. Do us a favor. If you've enjoyed this, hit the thumbs up and the like button if you would, wherever and however you're watching us. You can always drop a super chat if you want on the MyJBN online feed. You can always do that. You can always hit the Cash App there if you want to drop a little Cash App, little donation will help the show, help a brother be able to get to Tallahassee. It takes some miles, takes some gas money to get up there. So I'm looking forward to coming up to Tallahassee. I'll be there for the first home game of the season. Keith will be there as well. Gerald, of course, he's there. Kelvin will be there. So
hey, make sure y'all come. Y'all, we'll be tailgating. Make sure y'all come by now.
Yep.
Also,
on the west side, right there on the press box side. Make sure you fall through. Got to give a shout out to Reggie Delaney, running back from the 78 national championship team. Had a chance. We caught up. Keith and I caught up with Mr. Chester. I always call him Mr. Chester. I got a lot of respect for Al Chester Sr., so I always call him Mr. Chester. So ran into him as we were walking in, and then we run into Mr. Delaney and I believe his wife that was with them, and they watched the show. So shout out to one of the legends, of FAMU legends, Reggie Delaney. Thank you for watching Fangs Up podcast. Thank you for watching the O&G Strike Zone. We appreciate you and everyone that either we didn't see or that we missed down in Boca. We hope to see all of you in Tallahassee this upcoming weekend. Safe travels. We'll see you on Wednesday night for our normal Wednesday slot. And again, for Gerald and Keith, I'm Bryan and Kelvin. All right, fired up. We'll see you guys on Wednesday night, 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 Central. Share the show with the family. Anybody who might have missed it, it's much appreciated. All right, peace out, Rattlers. Fangs up, and let's make sure to strike, and strike again. Peace out, baby.